we are on the channel and we are talking about success and failure. So in my book of the month for December, The 12 Rules for Life, Jordan Peterson has a section in there where he talks about the problem with the way people look at success and failure. And I thought it was so awesome that I wanted to elaborate on it a little bit more for my channel and apply it specifically to entrepreneurs and to just the habits that I've had over the years of doing the exact same thing that I'm sure a lot of you do as well. And what he talks about is that the problem of success and failure is that people treat them as if they're binary. So they're black and white. They're the only two options. This is wrong, or this is right, or this is success, or this is failure. And the problem is that nobody creates any form of gray area where success could live underneath just the pinnacle of success, right? Like, how can I be the next Michael Jordan? How can I be the next Kobe Bryant? How can I be the next Tom Brady? And that is the bar with which we're setting up success for ourselves. So if that's success, okay, if the top of the top of the top is success, and then the only other option is failure, then failure is that giant pool that we are all swimming in. Myself, I got my floaties on, I'm out there. We got like a buddy with the big donut raft, like he's just floating around out there, because that's where we all are. We're all floating in the failure pool if the top of the top and the elite are the ones that we're comparing ourselves to constantly. So what I wanted to do today was to talk to you about all of the gray area that exists there. In this world of social media, I catch myself doing it all the time. I can always find someone that's more successful than me. Visually, on Instagram, I can always find somebody that is working a little bit harder than me, that is doing something that's a little bit more fun than me, that has a company with a larger following than my company's Instagram following or my personal Instagram following. You can always find it. And what Instagram specifically ends up becoming is a tool for you to compare yourself to others, and then as a result feel worse about yourself and feel worse about what it is that you're doing. And then it's this perpetual cycle that we find ourselves in every day, because the first thing we do when we get up in the morning is look at social media. And so what I wanted to encourage you to do today is to really define for yourself what success looks like. Stop allowing the world to define what success is. There is so much success that exists within the elite and with where failure ends up. And one of the first things I always do when I talk to entrepreneurs is ask them to tell me where they're at currently. Where are you right now? Okay, so write it down. Where are you? What is the revenue that you're doing? What are the benchmarks for you that you believe help define what success looks like? Because a lot of times it's different for each person. But when I ask somebody, write down what success in your organization looks like for you, people may write different things. Most people will write revenue because it is a business. But will they write how many customers you have in your email database? Will they write how many units have gone out collectively over the year? Will they write what the profitability number is? Everybody has different metrics for success. So right off the bat, it's not apples to apples. So I'll sit down, I'll say, write down where you're at currently, and they'll write down the revenue number and how many employees they have. That's another metric as well. Okay, so they'll write that down. And then I'll say, okay, where were you 6 months ago? Where were you 12 months ago? And where were you when you started? Okay, because that is who you're comparing yourself to. You are not comparing yourself to anyone else besides where you were previously. So tomorrow when you wake up, you need to be better than you were today. And tomorrow when you wake up, your company needs to see improvement from where it was today. And that's how growth happens. It happens over a long period of time. Okay? So success and failure, they're not binary. There's so much that exists between those two things, and you can do one of two things. You can set goals for yourself. You can allow yourself to define what success looks like. In 6 months, this is where I would like to be, and these are the metrics that I would like to fulfill, and this is what I believe success looks like for me. You can either define those things, or you can constantly and continuously compare yourself to the elite and find yourself discouraged and define yourself as a failure. The elite had to do the exact same thing that you're doing. None of their companies started off as billion-dollar companies. Michael Jordan didn't start off as Michael Jordan. Okay? They put the work in that was required and they set small goals for themselves to attain so they could look in the mirror and go, hey, you're kicking ass. Keep it up. Right? Like that's the encouragement that you need. But for some reason, we either set goals for ourselves that are unattainable and we feel like a failure, or we compare ourselves to the elite, and then now we're definitely setting ourselves up to not be successful. So today, define what success looks like for you in the future, write it down, hold yourself accountable to those benchmarks that were set by you and by no one else, and stop comparing yourself to the elite. You can find yourself just short of them being really successful, and you are definitely not a failure. Success and failure are not binary options.